Module 2 Stack-up Tolerance in Mechanical Design. First, we'll understand as what is the stack-up of tolerance. To understand that, let us have a look at an animation. Ideally, we want our design in such a way that all the parts must assemble nicely as shown here in this animation, where we can see that 3 blue blocks are getting assembled into a bigger purple block without any issue. However, in real case scenario, we don't get assemblies like this due to tolerances on the dimensions. Instead, there are 2 possible cases. Either there would be gap or clearance, or there would be an interference between parts. And this problem happens due to accumulation or stack-up of individual part tolerances on the dimensions. In this example, tolerances associated with the width of each block are causing this issue. We know that tolerances cannot be eliminated as it's required for manufacturing. However, it can be optimized by doing stack-up study if we know our design requirement. That means we have to know whether we need interference or clearance in design and its value. So, now we can define stack as an investigation of accumulated dimensions within a part or an assembly. For the purposes of determining optimum part tolerances. In this drawing, maximum and minimum of risk dimension can be calculated by equation displayed on the screen. This methodology works well here. What if tolerance is getting added up from multiple parts? How do we deal with that? To deal with that, we have to calculate multiple parts stack up together, which we'll be learning in this module. Now, we'll look at the 2 major types by which we do the stack-up calculations. Worst case methodology. This concept works on maximum and minimum values of dimensions. This method ensures 100% pass of assembly, but it's an expensive process. Second one is RSS or statistical case, factoring in the probability that things will very seldom be at their worst case leads to RSS case. This case does not guarantee 100% pass of assemblies as it works on probability and statistics. To compute stack, we have few basic steps to be followed. First, identify the stack or risk problem in the part or assembly. Second, identify the stack path or loop. And finally, enter the data into spreadsheet and analyze the results. Let us consider an assembly of shaft and circlip to understand these steps in details. Here, when circlip sits into the slot of the shaft, it requires little clearance to get assembled, and that clearance is defined as risk here. If there is no clearance available, circlip cannot be assembled into shaft. Or if clearance is there, but not enough, circlip may become tight into the slot. This gap is termed as risk to the design. So, our tolerance stack calculation must ensure that we should always have appropriate amount of clearance in this area. Now, we have to define risk or stack path. To do this, first, we have to define assembly datum. Assembly datum is the common contact surface of both the parts, which is used as reference. Dimensions falling in one side of this datum are considered positive and on the other side are considered as negative. In this example, dimensions which are in the left of datum surface are considered as negative, and the ones which are on right side are considered positive. We can choose other way also. Next, we have to write down the loop equation. It has to start from datum surface, which is considered as 0 point. And then start from one direction and cover all the dimensions which affect the risk area and come back to datum surface from another direction, thus making the summation of equation 0. And this is the equation which can be used to compute the value of risk or stack. To do that, we have to fill in this equation parameters into Excel spreadsheet, and that would populate worst case max, min, and RSS case summary automatically. So now, let us understand as how to fill in the data into tolerance stack template. To do that, first we'll open Dimension tab in the spreadsheet and fill in all the values one by one as illustrated here. Default value of CPK is considered as 1. Please take note that we do not have to fill in anything in column I and J as they get auto-populated. If in case you do not fill in the dimensions in ascending order like A1, A2, A3, B1, B2 and so on, you can use Arrange Dimensions button to arrange them. Next, we'll move on to the tab called Risk Description. Here, we need to identify the risk area, what we are going to work on, and the design intent. Risk number can be anything of your choice. I prefer to start with 101. Select the design requirement from drop-down menu, Clearance or Interference. After defining all risks, click on the button labeled as Add Risk tab. A new tab by name Risk 101 gets added into spreadsheet. In this tab, write down the risk equation to find clearance for circlip. After that, select the dimension identifiers and multipliers accordingly from drop-down menu. We can notice that gap is coming negative, which means there is no gap. Instead, it's interference. Looks like we have entered wrong value in Dimension tab. Let us go back and correct it. Circlip thickness entered is not correct. Now, we can see risk value is positive, which means gap is available. We can enter the data of analysis here. Finally, let us put our conclusions in the space provided. This chart shows percentage contribution of each dimension in StackUp. We must control the dimensions with higher contribution and define them as functionally critical. Now, we have another example to explain as how to calculate stack and use spreadsheet. Here, we have two caps assembled together by means of snap. These two caps are then tightened at the center by means of a screw. Screw mounting is rigid mounting. Therefore, screw mounting planes become assembly datum for both caps. We have derived the risk equation for this assembly to find out critical gap value for snap fit. Next, let us start filling in the values in the spreadsheet. First, we have to fill in the values in Dimensions tab. Here, Dimensions identifier should be an alphanumeric number. You can arrange it in any order. Later, after filling in all the values, you can click on Arrange Dimensions button to properly arrange them in ascending order. Other entries like part number, description, CPK values must be filled in. Once all this is done, we have to go to Risk Description tab. Here, in this tab, we need to assign risk number, design description and its requirement from drop-down menu. Requirement can be chosen as clearance or interference from drop-down menu. Once all the risks are listed down here, click on Add Risk tab button. In this case, we have only one risk. A new tab by name Risk 101 gets added. We have 4 identifiers to be filled in here, which are A1, A2, B1, B2, but rows available are only 2, so we need to add 2 more rows. To add rows, click on the button Add Row. Next step is to write down risk equation into specified place. Now we have to select the dimension identifier one by one from drop-down menu as per risk equation and use multiplier accordingly. If dimensions identifier is positive, then multiplier should be 1, and if it's negative, multiplier would be -1. If in case we want to divide it by 2, we have to choose multiplier as 0.5, which could be plus or minus. Once all the values are selected, result can be seen in summary column for both worst case and RSS case. Also, percentage contribution of each dimensional tolerance can be seen in below chart. Finally, we can write down the conclusion in the designated space. It's always a good practice to have date printed for records. So, this is the end of Module 2 in Tolerance Stack-Up. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can find us on social media. Thanks for tuning in and have a great day.